At it again, baby, and we have another one with Ben Shapiro. Let's dive in.
So, how do you say that some people don't have privilege when you basically just said that trans people aren't valid? They're not a thing. They're just girls pretending to be boys or boys pretending to be girls.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Oh, someone's excited. Okay.
Sex is biological, but gender is a completely different thing.
No, gender is not disconnected from sex. So.
It's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society. It's
Okay. No, it is not in the mind. Okay, you're not a man if you think you're a man. And I didn't say pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending. Let me amend.
You said playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing. I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. As far as the actual psychological issues at play, it used to be called gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. Now they call it gender dysphoria. The idea that sex or gender are malleable is not true. Okay, and I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to which you claim to be. You're still a human being, and you're a human being with an issue that I wish you Godspeed in dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are.
I love how he was actually respectful with that. You know, he said, I'm not denying that you are a human. Whatever issues you're dealing with, I hope that, you deal with them in the way that you see fit. But in terms of me playing into your mindset, I'm not doing that. And I think that's perfectly legitimate. We don't all have to think the same. We're not denying anybody the right to live or anything like that. But yeah, I love how he was respectful with that and not, demeaning or calling names or anything like that. So yeah, that was just something that I noticed and I took from that a little bit. But y'all can let me know what you thought about what he just said right there.
Okay, but you're still saying these kids should not be accepted because they don't really fit in either place. They can't just
I'm saying that the Boy Scouts have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout.
Where's that written though? Okay.
In the name Boy Scouts. because this is a very because for all of human history, boy meant boy and girl meant girl. Boy did not mean girl. And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose? Okay, if I redefine our terms. No, yes, that's right. Men and women are a completely different thing. This is true. Have you ever met a man or a woman? They're completely different.
You can't say you're a cat. It's not a thing. It's genders. It's not saying you're.
Okay, why is that? I don't understand. Why? Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, I won't ask you how old. I will ask you how old you are. Okay, because you're young enough that it's probably not insulting to ask you. So.
I'm 22, so I'm probably young and naive, right?
No. Why aren't you 60? Why aren't you 60?
And the crowd goes silent. Everybody. And one of you actually commented this in a joking matter. I want to identify as a 65-year-old millionaire or something, or billionaire. So I'm retired now. My thing is, where's the line drawn? How far does this go? Because I've honestly seen some crazy stuff, and I haven't reacted to it or put it on the channel or anything, but I've seen some absolutely ridiculous stuff. And you guys have told me about situations where people were, what do you call it? Identifying as kids. I think it was in the comedian JP, one of his videos. I want to say it was the best male or best female swimmer video, if I remember correctly. But I just thought that was funny, and when he said that, it reminded me of one of your comments in the comment section.
No, why aren't you 60? Why aren't you 60? And why can't you identify as 60? What is the problem with you identifying as 60?
It's not the same as gender. You can't just.
You're right. Age is significantly less important than gender.
True.
You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
You can still legally change it. People recognize
You can't legally change your age, by the way.
Obviously, you can change your name, you can change your sex, you can change your identity.
Just because you can do things legally doesn't mean that they are correct biologically. You could do lots of things in the past that were incorrect biologically and incorrect legally. For a long period of time in the United States, sterilization of the mentally ill took place. That didn't make it okay. Skinner versus Oklahoma. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote the decision.
Right. I still don't understand why you're accepting these children that have gender.
It's not a matter of. It's not a matter of open-minded and accepting. I want them to get treatment that they see fit, but that's not involving me. The idea behind the transgender movement as a civil rights movement is the idea that all of their problems would just go away if I would pretend that they were the sex to which they claim membership.
My thing is, I treat this the exact same that Dr. Umar. If you guys haven't seen that video, definitely go and check it out. I treat this the same way that I treated that when Dr. Umar was telling me and, everybody else in every other man in the black community that we were responsible to marry a black woman and make sure a black woman has this and that and this and that. I'm like, you responsible for you. I'm responsible for me. That's it. We are responsible for our own sadness, happiness, well-being. That is it. Ain't nobody coming to save you. Ain't nobody coming to save me. We save ourselves. Now, if somebody wants to help, sure, but nobody's obligated to do anything for me. I'm not obligated to do anything for anybody else. Now, if I want to, I can. That's different. But I'm not obligated. I don't treat that any differently. I try to be fair, right? And like I said, if you watch the Dr. Umar video, you'll hear me say some of the same things that I'll say for this. It's just fair. I'm not treating anybody any different. But y'all let me know how y'all feel. Maybe my logic is flawed. Y'all let me know.
And that they were the sex to which they claim membership. That's nonsense. The transgender suicide rate is 40%. It is 40%. And according to the Anderson School at UCLA, it makes no difference. There's a study that came out last year. It makes no difference, virtually no difference, statistically speaking, as to whether people recognize you as a transgender person or not, which suggests there's a very high comorbidity between transgenderism, whatever that mental state may be, and suicidality. That has nothing to do with how society treats you.
Do you think it could be because of they're bullied at school?
No, I don't think that. I do not think that the discrepancy. First of all, I'm against bullying of any sort. Okay, the idea that somebody would beat somebody up is terrible. Okay, as somebody who's viciously bullied in high school, I'm not a fan of bullying. But the idea that
I'm not a fan either, and I've told the story multiple times. I used to get bullied at one point in time. In elementary school, I got bullied. And then I got tired of it. So I started working out with my dad. Got strong enough, or what I thought was strong enough, to fight against the bully that was pushing me around a little bit. But that's a whole nother story for another day. But I've always been against bullying. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that I don't mess with people. But it's always people that I personally knew and that knew that I was joking. Dumb kid stuff. You're in school. You just do dumb things to people. Bump them into a locker or something. Just dumb stuff. But it was always people that I knew and that knew my personality and knew that I was joking. And they would sometimes do the same stuff back to me. It was never like some random, Joe Schmo that was, in school and barely talked to anybody. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go bully that guy. And a couple times that I did see it, I stopped it. Man, leave him alone, bro. Go on about your business, type situation. And that's the way that I should be. Bullying is weird. Like when you're bullying somebody that you don't know that happens to be in a less fortunate situation or may, whatever the case is, that stuff is weird to me. Bully somebody that can actually bully you back. That's actually entertaining because now you got to be on your P's and Q's. Oh, man, I pushed him into a locker right after first period. I got to make sure I watch my back the rest of the day at school because he might come up behind me. Bullying somebody that can't do anything to you, that's weak.
Somebody who's viciously bullied in high school, I'm not a fan of bullying. But the idea that the normal suicide rate across the United States is 4%. The suicide rate in the transgender community is 40%. The idea that 36% more transgender people are committing suicide because people are mean to them is ridiculous. It's not true, and it's not backed by any science that anyone can cite. It is pure conjecture. In fact, it's not even true that bullying causes suicide, according to a lot of studies. For example, in the black community, where the idea is supposedly that America is a racist society, blacks are bullied a lot. Okay, in the black community has significantly lower suicide rates than in the white community. In fact, in third world countries, the suicide rate is significantly lower than in first world countries. Suicide actually seems to be a privilege of the upper classes if you actually look at it from a financial perspective. So the idea that suicidality is directly a result of people like me saying, no, men are not women and women are not men, it's not true. It's also...
So you think it doesn't impact their identity at all, or their depression, or how they feel about themselves?
I think the idea that you're going to sacrifice the entire society's proper definition of sex because you think that there is in legal terms, somebody with an eggshell skull, meaning that somebody who has a pre-existing condition that makes them more susceptible to criticism, that is not a way to run a society. You can't sacrifice truth because some people are going to actually suffer because of the truth. Plus, there's no evidence whatsoever that the suicide rate would go down in the transgender community in any marked way if people just started pretending that men were women and women were men. We're trying that experiment now. We'll find out whether it works. So far, no evidence.
Have you talked to a group of trans people at all instead of this group of like white people?
I'm more than happy to talk to a group of any people who will have me, but usually they protest me.
Okay.
He's got a point. He's got a point. And listen, this isn't any hate. It's frustrating how this always gets twisted into you hate this group or you hate that group when you don't agree with everything that they say. That is disgusting to me. That is disgusting to me. Do you guys get disgusted by that? Because I do. I don't hate anybody that I disagree with. That is just craziness to me. Anybody that I disagree with, they can sit right here next to me right now. We can have a conversation, whatever, hug it out, have a couple drinks, whatever. Like, the fact that if you speak out against anybody or a group of people, you hate them is just ridiculous. It really is. It honestly is, but it's just frustrating. Anyway, let's get back to it.
Last question about your Planned Parenthood thing. So why do you think it's not about controlling women's bodies and just about the separate life? Like, after the baby is born, how come when people don't care about them? They don't care where they end up in foster care, they don't care about the mother being poor? Like...
Okay, I do care about the mother being poor, I do care about foster care.
Okay, but why don't you advocate for that, though? Because
For what?
Planned Parenthood is supposed to prevent abortions.
Because, Planned Parenthood doesn't prevent abortions. They perform hundreds of thousands of abortions a year. They perform 300,000 abortions a year. They're the leading abortion mill in the United States.
Evidence for that, though?
That they perform 300,000 abortions a year from Planned Parenthood. That's my evidence. They don't dispute that. No one disputes that.
Like birth control and cancer.
I'm not anti-birth control.
I know.
Birth control is extraordinarily cheap.
That provides affordable birth control, which would in turn...
Okay, they're not the only people in America who provide affordable birth control. You can go get a pack of condoms down at the local CVS for $12.
Condoms are great. People need medication, too.
Who uses those? Condom schmondom. Condoms are for suckers.
Local CVS for $12.
I'm joking, of course.
Condoms are great. People need medication, too.
Yes, and it's true that most forms of birth control are also extraordinarily cheap on an annualized basis. Unless you have a severe problem, most birth control is very cheap and readily available. And I'm not against people going and getting that from Planned Parenthood. As you may have noticed, I'm mostly against abortion. If you want to go to Planned Parenthood and get a contraceptive, go for it. I don't care. I do care when you start killing babies. This is a problem for me.
But what about in rape and incest situations?
Okay, so here's the question.
It's different, yes.
I mean, this is a long conversation, and I'm enjoying it, actually, which is why I'm allowing you to stay. But the question of rape and incest, first of all, important to note, rape and incest are not only a vast minority of abortion cases, they're an extraordinarily low percentage of abortion cases. So if we can first stipulate that all the other abortions are bad, then we can talk about that other one. Can we do that? Are all the other abortions bad, or are those ones okay? And you're just using this as an excuse to make the other ones okay.
They're all okay.
Ah, good. Someone who's honest. So, who's the honest fellow? Who's okay? Yay, honest people. Good. I like the honesty. Okay, so all abortions are okay. So, a sign that I can't read because it has lots of words on it. Okay, so I have one question for you and one question only on abortion. Does the vagina, the vaginal canal, magically confer personhood? Answer, does the vagina magically confer personhood? Yeah, raised hands are okay. You, sir.
No, the first breath does.
The first breath confers personhood. Okay, so if the baby is in the womb and is exactly the same size, and has not yet breathed, and you take a knife and you stab the baby in the head, a fully formed 9-month-old baby, it is not a human. The only thing that makes it a human is when it takes a breath. It has to independently breathe.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to stick to it, yeah, because I'm also pro-capital punishment and pro-selective suicide. So I'm going to stick with it.
Selective suicide? Yeah, I assume you mean elective suicide.
I mean, elective suicide.
Elective suicide. Okay.
Yes, I'm not going to make someone commit suicide.
Okay, that's good, because that wouldn't be suicide, that'd be homicide. So that, by the way, I'm for capital punishment too, because people who kill people should be killed, but babies who have not killed people should not.
All right, well, since we're on that topic, I've stated this before. I think that if you take a life, yours should be taken too. You guys can let me know in the comment section if you think the same way. Why not? Why do you think my logic is flawed? Why do you think it is on point? Talk to me. I'm interested. I really am.
For capital punishment too, because people who kill people should be killed, but babies who have not killed people should not. And this is my basic position on abortion. So but I'll get your answer because you're the one who asked the question. Are you willing to stipulate that all the other abortions are bad, just rape and incest bother you?
I mean, no, I believe a woman should have the right to
Got it. So it's an excuse, right? So it's an excuse so that we can say that, so that we can take the marginal case and then say that the marginal case applies to all cases. Okay, that's again faulty thinking. But if you want me to answer specifically on rape and incest, here is my basic answer: rapists should be castrated or killed. You shouldn't kill babies. End of story.
But are they ever castrated and killed? Most rapists don't even get convicted.
I agree, and that's usually the left side of the aisle because the left side wants to let them out after 5 years in prison. I want them castrated or killed. I'm telling you what my belief is. My belief is not public policy at the moment. But I think, would you agree with me on that one? Can we at least get a little agreement to finish this particular parlay? Okay, should rapists be castrated or killed?
Well, yes.
Okay, good, yeah, okay, we agree. Thanks.
So they ended up agreeing on something. But y'all let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. All right? Peace and love. I'm out.